student. This is the clinical bacteriology class, and the species is H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori. This is a gram-negative enterococci and the member of gram-negative rods. They only produce pathology within the gut. The microorganism is curved, spiral, a small spring-shaped gram-negative rod. Motile, because containing a bipolar flagella at the end. The species of gram-negative cocci, gram-negative rods, they are human significance. They are microaerophilic and produce urease, an enzyme. It causes acute gastritis and duodenal and gastric ulcer. Astonishing characteristic feature of this gram-negative rod is also a curve, a spiral, small spring-shaped gram-negative Enterobacteriaceae. That this microorganism is not directly involved in the pathogenesis, but it produces some type of exotoxin as well as an enzyme which is responsible to produce pathology within the gut, especially in the duodenum and the stomach. Now the infection of this microorganism, it is believed that from human to human, while it is not orophycal. This microorganism, when gets entry to the human body, so they try to colonize the stomach as well as the duodenum, part of a duodenum. Now, the colonization of this microorganism to the stomach, they try to colonize the area which pH is normally low. It means its pH is alkaline in nature, mean high pH. While low pH or acidic pH of the stomach, the GI tract protect the colonization of this microorganism. It means that this microorganism favor the condition where the pH is high within the gut. So they easily colonize as well as multiply at that place in producing the pathology. Now the place of pathology, that is the esophagus as well as pyloric end of the stomach and the gastric part of the duodenal part of the duodenum. It's mean duodenum. Now this microorganism we cannot isolate from food and water, but whenever is found, they are found within the gut of the human. Now, in chronic cases, this microorganism, they colonize the gastric mucosa, that is the epithelium in the duodenum or the esophagus. While it is observed that this microorganism does not colonize the rest of the intestinal epithelium. They survive within the mucosal layer of the coats of the epithelium and causes chronic inflammation of the mucosa. Now, there are three basic mechanisms which is involved in the pathogenesis of this microorganism. That this microorganism is not invasive. Whenever it colonizes to the mucosal surface of the gut, so it stimulates the activation of the inflammatory cells. Third, this microorganism produces urease. Now, this urease is an enzyme when it is produced within the gut, so it's increase the pH or make the environment alkaline. And alkaline pH is favor the growth of this microorganism. Now, after the production of urease, urea present within the gut by means of this urease converted into carbon dioxide gas and ammonia. And you know, ammonia is an alkaline in nature. Now, when ammonia produced in large number, so this microorganism, the reproduction of this microorganism is favored, and the colonization of this microorganism is increased in the vicinity of this inflammatory area, and this favoring bacterial multiplication. Third point, the urease and ammonia, both these chemical substances are injurious and potentiate the cytotoxic effect on the mucosal cell walls as well as the lower lining of the epithelium of the gut and producing the ulcerating area. Now, if you see this diagrammatic representation of the pathogenesis of H. pylori, so the only three basic mechanisms that diagrammatically shown in this figure. Number one, that H. pylori penetrate the mucous layer lining the stomach's epithelium, attracted to the chemotactic substance hymen and urea. Now, urea is present as well as hymen is the iron containing ferric chloride, that's a part of the hemoglobin. Now, these two things, it is attracted by this H. pylori, and when this thing is attracted by this H. pylori, now H. pylori start to release the urease. In second diagram, that H. pylori recruit and activate inflammatory cells. Now, in second step of the pathogenesis, this microorganism recruit the inflammatory cells as well as release the urease, an enzyme. Now, this urea cleaves producing ammonia as well as the carbon dioxide gas. Now, the action of the ammonia is the neutralization of the stomach acidity and make the favorable condition for the growth as well as colonization of this microorganism at the vicinity of the gut. Now, the third diagrammatic representation shows that this microorganism H. pylori producing a cytotoxic effect, and the ammonia produced by its urease causes destruction of mucus producing cells and exposing underlying connective tissue to stomach acid. It means that is third step. This microorganism producing an ulcer at the site of the inflammatory area where it colonized as well as multiplied. So when they produce or destroy the epithelial cell as well as the mucus producing cells of the gut, so in the form of ulcer can be exposed the underlying connective tissue to the stomach acid. Once again, I repeat the pathogenesis. It is the most important part of this topic. Only three basic mechanisms is involved in the pathogenesis of the H. pylori. Remember one thing, the H. pylori favor the alkaline condition. In acidic condition, H. pylori cannot survive in the stomach as well as in the duodenum. While by producing the alkaline condition within the GI tract, so this condition favor the growth as well as multiplication as well as favor the pathogenic activities of this microorganism. Now, how they produce the alkaline condition? Number one, by the production of ammonia. Second, this microorganism does not produce colony, but at the pyloric end, as well as at the esophagus and to the duodenum, because the area of the stomach which is acidic in nature, so they cannot survive and they cannot colonize in the stomach, but at the pyloric end as well as the duodenum and at the esophagus. This is the first basic mechanism. Second, production of the toxic substances like exotoxin as well as the urease enzyme. The function of the urease enzyme is that it acts on the urea which is containing within the gut, and this urea, by the action of this urease, cleave into ammonia as well as carbon dioxide gas. So carbon dioxide gas not so important, but the ammonia, the production of ammonia in large amount make the vicinity of the gut alkaline in nature, which favor the growth as well as for the pathogenesis of this microorganism. And third process, that this microorganism produces these two substances which is highly cytotoxic, that is the ammonia as well as carbon dioxide gas. Now both are responsible to produce injurious effect in the form of ulcer and the cytotoxic effect within the GI tract in the form of metaplastic activities. It's mean that after the production of gastric ulcer or esophagus ulcer or the duodenal ulcer, the second step when the condition goes to chronic stage, so metaplastic activities start to produce and this epithelial cell converted into the metaplastic cells in the form of lymphocytic B cells, lymphoma type of carcinoma produced by this microorganism. Now we discuss the clinical manifestation of H. pylori. Initially, H. pylori causes acute gastritis, including diarrhea. But if it goes toward the chronic stage, so patient complain about the epigastric pain or cramp as well as burning sensation at the site of stomach. Now, this is the sign, this is the symptom of duodenal ulcer as well as of the gastric ulcer. Both possibilities are there. But 95% of the infection of this microorganism produce duodenal ulcer in the 95% of the patient. Now, those people, if they give history of not using anti-inflammatory drugs like aspirin or the other painkillers, so health worker can be suspected, or they suspect that maybe the H. pylori infection are the risk factor for development of the gastric carcinoma, first the ulcer, as well as at last in chronic stage, the H. pylori infection appears to be a risk factor for the development of gastric carcinoma, that is the B cell lymphoma, mucosa associated lymphoid tumors, and it is shortly said maltomas, lymphocyte, mucosa associated lymphoid tumor. In short, we can say the clinical manifestation first is the acute phase, that is the gastritis, followed by diarrhea. Second, that is the ulcer, which is the duodenal as well as gastric ulcer. Third is the perforation of this ulcer. You expose the lower parts of the tissues of the GI tract, that is the stomach and the duodenum. And third is the, which is the severe condition and the major factor, which is chronic condition and metaplastic activities by this H. pylori, and this due to the toxic agent, that is the ammonia, which producing gastric B cell lymphoma or the lymphoid tumor. Now, lab diagnosis of H. pylori. As we discussed with you that this microorganism cannot be detected from the food as well as the water which is ingested by the patient, and it cannot be isolated from the blood, but they can be isolated from the part of the ulcerated area or the where the biopsy we take from the infected part of the stomach as well as of the duodenum. So first is the, we test microscopically. If we take the biopsy from the infected part of the stomach and the duodenum by endoscopy and by gram staining, we can be observed under microscope a gram negative small spiral type flagellated microorganism, gram negative rods. Second, chemically we can be test this microorganism if we grow the H. pylori on the McConkey agar. So it's give the fermentation of the lactose. This microorganism is lactose fermenter, so it change the color of the McConkey agar, it means that it ferments the lactose by the production of lactase. Second, chemical test for the urease, that a growing culture, if we test for the urease test, it gives the positive urease test. But the best one laboratory diagnosis is the biopsy. If we take the biopsy and by gram staining observe under microscope, so we can easily see the gram negative rod. Now if you see the another diagrammatic representation, that first part it show to you a small coil or spiral type of rods on the McConkey agar, and the below the diagram show abundant number of microorganism which is present in the biopsy or the tissue taken by endoscopic procedure. We show the abundant number of microorganism spiral in form.